Hey guys, Andy here. So back in 2019, I suppose I'd only been cycling about 6 months. I bought the original Garmin Varia Radar Lite. At the time, I think it was quite a unique product. I don't think anyone else had one out at that point. Now you've got quite a few different options to choose from. But very quickly it became an essential piece of my riding equipment. In fact, the video was called something like the best cycling gadget I own. And on the few occasions I've had to ride without it, I really realised how much not that I rely on it, but that I just like having it there. It's just really useful. With a quick glance down, getting a rough idea if there's anything approaching from behind. That's not to say you don't still do shoulder checks before manoeuvres and things, but sometimes, I don't know, if it's a pothole sometimes, I've had to swerve, I will glance as I'm doing it, and if I see there's something behind me, I'll bunny hop. And that's probably a bit safer if you're approaching a pole rather than trying to check out. Anyway, so that was 2019. Loads of other competitors have arisen since then. And a few years back, they brought out a version that had a camera. And I didn't really see the need for it. And to be honest, it's only because recently the original started causing some problems. It was just, I'd go and summarize it, would just constantly be disconnecting. And when your head unit beeps loudly when it disconnects, I mean, that just in the end just cut the connection between my head unit and the radar. It's done it a few times. I've tried software, I've tried lots. Anyway, in the end I thought, do you know what? Because I've been kind of waiting, maybe they'll bring out a new camera. And funny enough, they've just brought out a new just radar. I'd have been so annoyed if it had been the camera as well. But I thought, do you know what? Let's go ahead and get the camera version. Because amongst other things, the old radar was the last thing I had on micro USB. And it's really annoying when you go on a cycling trip and you've got to make sure you remember a cable to charge the radar. USB-C, everything USB-C. So I've been riding with it for a, good few miles and kilometers, so I thought I'd give you a bit of a rundown on the new Garmin Varia Radar camera. So let's start off just by taking a look at the design. And actually one of the first things you notice when you take out the box is just how much bigger it is than the old one in all dimensions. And it does feel a little bit of a lump. But there's a few things that I quite like. So the buttons now are on the sides. The power on the top on the old one basically stopped being a button. It was just something, I mean, you could press it and turn it on, but it never actually moved anywhere. And also when you've got a saddlebag sitting on the top of it, it wasn't so easy to access. So I do prefer the button on the side. We just hold it down, turn it on, and we also use that to rotate between the modes. Just going to turn it off again for the moment. If I'm honest, I think that's like a save or a take a picture. I've not used it if I'm very honest. So yeah, the buttons on the side is an improvement. It is now a new bespoke mount type. So even though you call it the Garmin mount type, this doesn't use it. But it's quite nice in some ways that it just kind of slots in. I don't know which way around we should be. No, it should be this way. And we're closed at the moment, so let me just open it up. There we go. So that's open, it slots in place, and then it locks in, and it is very sturdy. So I kind of forgive them for that, because it is quite a nice mount. You do get 2 or 3 different sort of seat post adapters, I suppose. That's the rubber bit in there that you can change for whatever you're using. Although I would recommend a shout out to Concentric Cycling. For both my bikes, I've ordered mounts for this new unit, and they're actually really nice. They fit perfectly around your seat post. There's no movement. It's very secure. So yeah, it's a bit of a shout out to them. What else we got going on? Okay, so then the charging port there's a little sort of rubber cap, and there is the USB-C charging port. So that's very easy to access. The memory card on the other end, SD card. Now obviously you can just connect with the app, and you can I think you can download footage from your phone, or onto your phone I should say, from the app. I've so far generally took the SD card out, took all the footage, and it's a little harder, so you want like a coin or whatever type thing to pull. He says, there we go, pull the back off, and then the memory card is in there. Look, you push up, and then you've got to make sure it flips out, and then you can remove the memory card. So it's not as easily got to, and also, there you go, make sure you get the side, because there is like a correct way up for this slot, which I find a little bit odd, but make sure you get the one that's got a little dimple at the top, lined up with the place to move it into the locking position. So there we go, that's kind of the design covered off. So then I'm going to turn it back on again and we're going to have a look at what you can do in the app. So we're going to have to give it, I mean, last time it actually took about 10 or 15 seconds to connect from my phone. So obviously this will connect to whatever head unit you use. I'm going to show you some footage in a moment of me using, or what it looks like on my Karoo, but it will connect to Garmin units, Wahoo units. But you can also connect it to your phone and listen for the audio alerts. They don't have to have it connected to your head unit. So now we're connected in. We would actually see vehicles, if there were any, we would see them passing. That way we can control sort of taking photos and videos on and off at the bottom there. We can go into the gallery. Now we'd have to enable Varia Wi-Fi. I'm not going to bother showing you in there. What I wanted to do, so I think if we go into devices, there's the new one. And then we can see the camera configuration is what we wanted to have a look at really. So recording mode, I have it on default, but you can have it on radar activity, or you can just turn the camera off. Obviously different levels of battery use on each one. Video quality, so again I'm on 1080p, 30 frames a second, but you can go into 720 if you want better life. I've got it to record audio, it's not going to be good audio, probably shouldn't really bother. Live camera preview, again I'd have to connect to it, but then I could actually see if I wanted, I could have my phone mounted on my handlebars and see what's behind me. Instant recording, that's just if it detects a crash, it will lock the footage. And then data overlays, GPS, date and time overlay, tell it the format. And also speed overlays. I'd need to check, I'm not sure I've noticed those if I'm honest. But that's it really for the app. The app is pretty simple. I mean, I don't generally, if I'm honest, I don't go into the app. I've got no need to go into the app. I suppose if I wanted a quicker and easier way of skimming through footage to find something, that might be the quicker way. But that's what the app is about. There you go, you've seen it. So then the radar quality. So I've got some footage that we will have a look at where I've matched up some of the video with what you can see on the head unit, so you get a rough idea how well the radar works. So this is just, I just went for a little quick bimble really, just specifically to show you the functionality of the radar. I've cut a little bit of the left-hand side of my Karoo screen off on the left there, because you just don't need to see it. I mean, I almost was going to trim it all the way back so you could just see the yellow line, which represents the traffic behind me while cycling. You might also notice a slight sort of funny pink-red semicircle. Ignore that, that's the sort of video screen recording software. So I just pulled over at the side of the road. I tried to sync the video as best I could to the radar. I think I might have got it slightly behind, the radar slightly behind, which actually makes it look a little bit slower to respond than it is. But that's impressive that it can see two vehicles. I don't know if you noticed then, I could barely see the one of them. Well, I mean, I could see the one of them, but I barely could see the second one, and the radar knew, like even there, it's got some car right way back at the top of the screen there. So, okay, well, let me just head up the other side. And again, watch as this car turns out. Now you have to remember, it's got to be advancing towards you, so that as the car accelerates, it appears on the radar. Again, I've probably got a second or so delay that shouldn't be there, that really is there. And actually there, look, do you see that really quick radar error? So it disconnected, I don't know what happened. I didn't even notice it when I was riding, but it did do a brief disconnection, but connected again almost instantly. So it's green when the rear behind you clears away, and that obviously drops out, so there's nothing visible after a little while. But it's quite quick when vehicles turn onto the road. You know, each of these that turn out onto the road get picked up pretty quickly again. I think I've probably got the radar a second behind the video. And again, the car sort of coming on the top as it accelerates towards me. That's one thing I think they've improved on the new radar, that when a car comes up behind you but then stays behind you at the same speed, on these models it will drop off the radar. On the new one it will sort of kind of almost remember that it's there and show you still that it is there. Which makes sense, actually. There's a few times I've looked down and thought, I mean, in some ways it doesn't matter if it's not advancing on you, maybe it doesn't matter, but still rather low. You can also see on the registration plate of that Mini, you can see the sort of red light flashing. That flash changes as cars appear behind you to try and almost sort of warn them that you're there. Anyway, let's move on to the actual footage. So this is just straight up footage. Thankfully I had I kind of bought this radar in time for my trip to Gran Canaria, which I must say, oh my God, I recommend. If you have the means, it's very worth doing a trip to Gran Canaria. Especially in January when it's like 1 degree back in the UK and it's 20 over there. So you'll see here, again, that registration, if you paused it, I probably should have put that into my video editing, but if you pause it, you can read, you can read that guy's shirt. I think the video quality is pretty good. It's not GoPro quality, obviously, and you're not really, I don't think you're expecting GoPro quality. You don't need GoPro quality. Clearly I need to work something a little bit better out for my saddlebag. It was funny, I was using bits of tape to try and keep things out of the way from hanging in and keep the saddlebag as high as it could and all sorts. But still, I don't know, maybe just adds a little bit to the effect. If we talk about battery life, now again, Gran Canaria, I was doing some really long days. We did Pico de las Nieves, which if you look it up is a 47-kilometre climb. Took over 4 hours to do. And again, there you can clearly read the car license plate. Those are clouds, by the way, on the left. You see the back left there? Those are actually clouds, cycling above clouds. Anyway, sorry. So the battery, it would last about 6 hours. One day on that Pico de las Nieves day, it lasted 6 hours. It died before I got home. But another day, it lasted all 6 hours. I came home after 6 hours of cycling, and it was still alive. So I would say, actually, considering everything that it does, the battery is actually pretty good. So as I've mentioned, I really don't like riding without the radar. If ever, I think maybe at some point in history I've forgotten to charge it properly and it dies through the ride, or even to be honest, just near the end of a really long day, maybe the battery dies. It's really, I don't know, I'm not reliant on it, and I don't not do shoulder checks, but I just like to know, it'll tell me often before I hear cars that they're coming behind me. It's just nice to have that information there. This seems to be as sort of reliable as the previous. The radar quality is very good. Actually, I was reasonably surprised and impressed by the video quality. I have realised, having used it for a cycling trip to Gran Canaria, that I don't really need much footage of the rear view. I mean, it's quite fun when you're descending and someone's descending behind you, that you're watching them and you can see them, but it's not great footage. But I think it's just one of those things. If something, touch wood, the worst were to happen, you might be grateful of having video of who was behind you at the time. I guess the downside is it is somewhat pricey, but again, that's, if it's good value, is dependent on yourself and how much disposable income you have. A lot of cyclists have quite a bit of disposable income. They've just also released their new, just regular radar and light. That is about £250. So should you stick on an extra 50 to 80, depending what bargain you can find to get the camera? I mean, again, that's up to you. Do you need the camera? Do you want the camera? The radar's the important thing. Anyway, am I pleased with my purchase? Yeah, I really am. The radar is just super useful. The video quality is better than I thought. The battery life, I think, considering everything that it does, with it lasting kind of, 6 or so hours, that's quite good. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I do read and respond where sort of appropriate and suitable. But for now, my name's Andy, and I'll catch you all again soon.